Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss about the comments made by OIC on Jammu and Kashmir. The Organization of Islamic Conference or OIC has once again provoked India by making certain unwarranted comments against Jammu and Kashmir. It has reportedly adopted a resolution moved by Pakistan at the just concluded meeting of foreign ministers in Niger. India has reacted sharply, saying the comments in the resolution are factually incorrect. It asked OIC to refrain from making any such comments in the future. So what is the meaning of the OIC resolution? Has the grouping of Islamic countries again got hijacked by Pakistan? We will analyze such questions in the agenda today. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar and retired Brigadier Vinod Datta. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this report.
After a brief lull, the Organization of Islamic Conference or OIC has once again made the comments regarding Jammu and Kashmir, inviting angry reaction from India. Prompted or perhaps pushed by Pakistan, the grouping of Islamic countries has reportedly passed a resolution at the meeting of foreign ministers in Niger asking India to restore Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. It has also made certain comments regarding the new domicile policy and land laws of Jammu and Kashmir. India reacted sharply to the development and asserted that OIC has no locus standi on Jammu and Kashmir, which is an internal matter of India. External Affairs Ministry spokesman Anurag Shrivastava in a statement said India strongly and categorically rejects the factually incorrect and unwarranted references to India in the resolution. It said it was regrettable that OIC continues to allow itself to be used by Pakistan to indulge in anti-India propaganda, particularly when Pakistan has an atrocious record on religious tolerance, radicalism and persecution of minorities. The MEA spokesman called the OIC not to make any such comments in future. OIC earlier used to routinely make adverse comments regarding Jammu and Kashmir at the behest of Pakistan. However, for a brief period, it refused to be taken for a ride by Pakistan and did not agree to holding a special meeting on Jammu and Kashmir after abolition of Article 370 in August last year. The grouping had rejected Pakistan's desperate pleas and even the public threat by Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi that Pakistan would quit the OIC and form a separate grouping of Islamic nations. Even during this meeting in Niger, the host had refused to include the issue of Jammu and Kashmir on agenda. But apparently the resolution was moved and adopted impromptu. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Ambassador Sajjanhar and Brigadier Datta. Welcome to the program, sirs, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll first ask Ambassador Sajjanhar. You must have read about the so-called resolution adopted by OIC. So first initial comment, how do you see that? Because it's after a brief lull. Last year Pakistan was crying that they should have a meeting on Kashmir, but OIC did not listen. Now again OIC makes rants about Kashmir. What do you see?
You see, this is one of the usual meetings, the Council of Foreign Ministers is every year. So, number one, this is nothing fresh. And every year that they meet, they have a resolution which is piloted by Pakistan, which is sponsored by Pakistan, and they speak about Kashmir. They condemn what they think is happening in Kashmir. And this time they have also added the abrogation of Article 370. Ajayji, what you have mentioned in terms of, what Pakistan was trying to do the whole of last year, what they had wanted was that there should be a special session of the OIC. Right. That should be convened to discuss the issue of Kashmir, to discuss abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, and all the other changes that are taking place in terms of making the Jammu and Kashmir into a union territory, also making Ladakh into a union territory. That the OIC did not do. The leadership of the OIC, that is Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, did not do. The resolution that has been adopted, put it briefly, there is nothing new. They come up with this resolution, India condemns it in the strongest terms, and then it will be basically business as usual as far as India's relations with the other countries bilaterally, whether Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Oman. In fact, I would say that this resolution is not worth the paper that it is printed upon.
Now it will become basically these resolutions become part of archives of OIC. But as we noted that it was not originally in the schedule of the OIC foreign ministers meeting. It was actually apparently, according to Pakistan, added at the last moment. So is it like Pakistan is now able to influence the OIC?
No, you see, what happened is that there was no specific item on the agenda to discuss the Kashmir issue.
Right.
It was I don't think it was really discussed as a separate issue, but the resolutions that have been adopted for the last several years. So one of those resolutions was rechurned and it was brought back. In fact, there are reports which suggest that Pakistan had suggested to the leadership in Niamey in Niger that there should be a specific discussion on Kashmir. This was turned down. So it is just a resolution because that has been accepted and adopted for many, many years. So this was added to it. But I don't think a separate discussion took place as Pakistan was demanding.
So basically, I will ask the Brigadier Datta. Now, basically, if we kind of analyze it, it's basically tokenism by OIC, maybe to please Pakistan. Do you agree on that?
Pakistan has been trying its best, to stimulate or to at least speak OIC in favor of, their thinking and their way of working. If you recall, Maldives, they had also impressed on Maldives to take up certain issues, and Maldives had refused that, yes, we are not going to be speaking or talking against India. So Pakistan's stance and standing as far as OIC is concerned is denuding, and it is weaning away day by day. And if you see the countries like Saudi Arabia, earlier they used to hire Pakistani Air Force pilots, and now they have totally put a blanket ban on any kind of military training or collaboration or any kind of military cooperation with Pakistan. Of late, you must have seen that the Prime Minister Mr. Imran Khan had gone to has been begging, literally begging Saudi Arabia for some kind of assistance, and then the Pakistan Army Chief was sent to go and convince that government. So, if you again see Kuwait has again banned, Pakistani immigrants. The military hardware which they were getting from Pakistan has also been cut down drastically. So Pakistan, as it is losing its importance as far as OIC is concerned. But yeah, it was quite a, it came as a surprise that since this point was not in the agenda, it just came, it sprung like a surprise.
Ambassador Sajanar, as you heard Brigadier Datta saying that Pakistan is kind of isolated even within the Muslim world also. As you just mentioned about Saudi Arabia paying no heed to it, UAE not paying any heed to Pakistan about Kashmir. So, and you also heard that Qureshi ranting that we will quit OIC, the only Islamic country with nuclear bomb will quit OIC and form its own. So, do you think those threats are maybe kind of working, or it was just a pleasing Pakistan, or how it could have happened?
No, the threats definitely have not worked. You would recall that, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, he had said that we have been asking the leadership of OIC, that is Saudi Arabia, that you convene a special meeting of the OIC to discuss the Kashmir issue, and they are not doing it. And if they continue with this practice, then Qureshi said, I'll be forced to ask my Prime Minister to convene a separate meeting with countries who are supportive of our stand on Kashmir.
Malaysia and
And
Turkey
so
he
much
mentioned.
so, sorry.
He had mentioned Malaysia and Turkey will form an Islamic group of Malaysia, Pakistan, and Turkey.
Well, let me put it this way. As far as I remember, in that particular interview, he did not mention any countries. But before that, of course, when there was discussions that took place either at the UN Human Rights Council last year on this issue and took place in the UN General Assembly, at that time, Turkey and Malaysia had spoken out in favor of Pakistan. But Qureshi's interview, he did not mention, to the best of my memory, he did not mention any countries. He only said that I will ask my Prime Minister to convene a meeting of those countries which are supportive of us on the issue of Kashmir. Now, the backlash from Saudi Arabia was so stiff that they immediately asked for return of the $1 billion out of the $3 billion that had been given to
Right.
Pakistan, that had been loaned to Pakistan, and also withdrew the concessional supply of oil, also of $3 billion. So much so that, then as Brigadier Datta was saying, that they had to rush their army chief, General Bajwa, to have a meeting with MBS in Saudi Arabia. But that also did not happen. Saudi Arabia is very angry with Pakistan. And I think one of the other reasons, one is, of course, because India's relations with Saudi Arabia and with the general Islamic world in the West Asia are getting better. But the other is there is a conflict in the Middle East, in West Asia, in the Gulf, for supremacy of the Islamic countries.
Right.
And that both Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and also Iran, they have become three contenders. Amongst the Sunnis, it is Saudi Arabia and Turkey, and then Iran has emerged as has always been, so to say, a hostile adversary state. So there are these divisions also that have taken place, that have come about. And Pakistan has decided to throw its lot with Turkey because Turkey is more supportive of it as far as taking on India is concerned.
Right, Brigadier Datta, I noticed at this conference which just ended in Niger, the Prime Minister of Niger, who inaugurated the conference, he mostly focused on terrorism and extremism and radicalization. So do you think that OIC, the Islamic world is also concerned about terrorism? He was saying that it's a threat to the world, not only to the region. So do you think that they are also recognizing the threat of terrorism and extremism also?
That's a very, very good point, Ajayji, which you have raised. And if you see the impact of terrorism and the people who are affected, most of the Islamic countries are affected by terrorism. And they are the worst sufferers. You take the case of Afghanistan, you take the case of Turkey, you take the case of any country. They are badly affected, whether it is Syria or any country. So the Islamic radicalization has impacted or affected the Islamic countries in a great extent. You see, most of the economies are devastated. There is no governance. There is warlordism which is going on there. So,
Right.
It's high time that they should realize, and they should also, the wisdom should dawn on themselves that there's no point, putting blinders on your eye and keep moving. And with the result, you are losing everything, whether it is economy, society, your culture, your governance. So it is high time that, yes, development, and they should come in the mainstream with the world. And some of these countries which are totally devastated or they have been reduced to ruins, they were once, seat of learning. And now if you see, even Saudi Arabia, Pakistan's nuclear arsenal was basically being funded by Saudi Arabia. And now since Saudi Arabia has, withdrawn its support and hence Pakistan is running helter-skelter. So, yes, you are right, and it is high time that the Islamic countries should realize that yes, there is no point, encouraging or breeding or subscribing to this kind of terrorism. It is high time that they should focus on development and should take support and help from the countries who are willing to, get back peace in their countries.
Ambassador Sajanar, taking this question forward, as you talked about Saudi Arabia now not being so inclined towards Pakistan, UAE not being so inclined towards Pakistan. So, is it because now they realize that Pakistan is kind of epicenter of international terrorism, global terrorism, and that is why they are kind of, keeping distance with it? Is my assessment correct?
I think there are a large number of reasons. This is definitely one of them, that they have realized that rather than being a part of the solution, Pakistan is a part of the problem. Then I don't think they like this, as you put it, the ranting of Pakistan leadership against India and on Kashmir, because they have their own, whether it is the personal rapport that Prime Minister Modi has with all the leaders. They have bestowed their highest awards and honors to Prime Minister Modi, but also India as a large country, as a large market for their investments, for trade, a reliable and a growing market for the energy resources. So there are a variety of reasons that India is found to be much more attractive by them than Pakistan. And the third thing is that Pakistan has thrown its lot with Turkey. And as I mentioned briefly earlier, there is this fight for supremacy in the Islamic world between Sunni Islamic world between Turkey and Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And Saudi Arabia has all the Gulf Cooperation Council members along with that. And Turkey is trying to have this very, very expansionist policy. So you would have seen what it is doing in Libya, what it is doing in Syria, what it is doing in East Mediterranean, its whole ideology of the blue homeland theory, where it says, President Erdogan is trying to create the caliphate and the Ottoman Empire and become the new caliph. And so that he needs more space. And he says the Mediterranean, the eastern part of the Atlantic, and even in the south, the Gulf of the Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, that is all a part of the area where Turkey will have its suzerainty. So this makes Saudi Arabia very, very apprehensive. So I think there are two aspects here. There is a lot of hypocrisy also involved, because when they are suffering themselves, as Brigadier Datta mentioned a large number of cases, even more recently we have seen Boko Haram has killed so many people in Ethiopia, in Nigeria, and others. So when it is happening to them, they speak about terrorism. When it is happening in other countries, for instance, France, then they talk about Islamophobia. And they say that, what they are doing is justified because, Islam, there is injustice as far as Islam is concerned. So there is this hypocrisy also that, they really need to introspect and look inwards and take a decision.
But Ambassador Sajnar, as you may appreciate, that Pakistan had rock solid support from the Gulf countries. Now the Gulf itself is changing. Saudi Arabia and other countries now are reaching out to Israel, while Pakistan maintains that it will not recognize Israel. So there is there are divisions within Gulf also. There are historic changes taking place.
No, absolutely. Yeah, because there is a huge churning taking place in the Gulf. And of course, Imran Khan says that he's not going to recognize Israel. That's his current position. I wouldn't be very surprised if, going forward in not too distant a future, he's also forced to recognize Israel. And as we have heard, that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he met MBS. The Mossad chief was also with him. Pompeo was also there in.
Pompeo's meeting was scheduled actually, and Netanyahu came in, apparently.
Yes,
secretly.
exactly. So there is this attempt at normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel. So you're very right that right now all the equations are changing. So Israel, which used to be the inveterate enemy in the Gulf, now there is normalization. Now there is better understanding, establishment of normal diplomatic relations. And these countries are looking at Iran as the major
Right.
adversary, as the major hostile nation. So I think different countries will really have to come to terms with the changing equation, with the changing situation in the Gulf.
Brigadier Datta, I want to take this forward since you heard about MBS meeting Netanyahu and Mossad chief. And immediately after 4 days later, we saw the top nuclear scientist of Iran being assassinated in a kind of spy operation which is suspected to be Mossad. So how do you see that? Is Saudi now has started taking help from Israel to contain Iran?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, this is what is happening, and the assassination of such a great scientist has created ripples in the world, and Iran is apportioning some blame on China, on America also, and they are right, and it is now a cause of concern for the American administration also to convince Iran that yes, I mean they've got nothing to do with it. So
No, actually, it goes in favor of US. They can say that we can do whatever we want and anytime.
say again, I couldn't hear you.
No, I am saying it goes in favor of US. Even if, I mean, if Iran believes that CIA was also involved in that operation, so it goes in
Yeah.
favor of US also. No, America can do anything in your country, deep inside.
Yes, yes. But yes, there were reports that there was some kind of relations which was strained because of this incident, and the Iranian people are also asking for the change of guard and the top hierarchy because he enjoyed that much of clout, and this is a second incident where General Soleimani was he was killed. So
No, I'll draw a difference. I'll draw a difference between Soleimani killing. He was killed in a, missile attack. Here is an operation
Yeah.
which was carried deep inside in Tehran, outside Tehran.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different kind of operation.
No, I agree with you. You see, because General Soleimani, he was killed by a predator attack, and that was also
And that in
deep
Iraq
inside
also.
the yeah, that was in Iraq, and his movement was being monitored, and it was a very, very surgical strike and pinpointed target where he was really literally turned into pieces. So, this kind of activities which are taking place has now really put people of Iran against the present governance, and they are asking for a change of guard. And I'm sure Iran is going to find it very difficult to convince people or to at least explain the assassination of such a great personality.
So we are running out of time. I want to ask Ambassador Sajjan Saab about the same operation. How do you see that operation? And is it like
You see,
now Israel will be? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think that it is complicating the ground situation for President-elect Biden when he comes. And I think that was one of the ideas because Biden has said that as soon as he comes into position, he is going to enter into negotiations to revive the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the Iranian nuclear deal. And by
Right.
killing of Dr. Fakhrizadeh, I think it has complicated matters for Biden very severely because, as has been mentioned, the people in Iran are going to be against Rouhani. The presidential elections are going to take place in June 21. So the window of opportunity available to Mr. Rouhani and President Biden when he gets sworn in on the 20th of January, that window of opportunity is very small. So I think it's going to be very, very complex because as it is, it was not easy because what Biden has said is he wants to extend this agreement and also add other elements that is in terms of the missile tests of Iran and also of the regional activities. That means all the support that Iran is providing to the Houthis, to the Hezbollah, to Hamas, and its interventions in Syria, in Libya, in Lebanon, and in Palestine. So, in any case, that was an ambitious agenda which Iran might not have really agreed to. But by shooting, by assassination in broad daylight, in the heart, so to say, of Iran, I think this has further complicated matters. And The wife of Dr. Fakhri Sadeh has said that we should have revenge. So Israelis are also preparing themselves
Right.
for some
They are on
action
alert.
by the Iranians. Yes,
They
they're on
are on
alert.
alert. Yes. So, a brief comments, Brigadier Datta, about the nuclear part of nuclear plan of Iran. So, will it kind of discourage this action? Will it discourage? Brief comment from you. The killing.
No, America tried its best to dampen the nuclear program of Iran, but the spirits and the high in Iran that America could not make much of a difference, and then finally America gave in. So I'm sure, yes, it is a great loss to Iran, but I'm sure they are going to pursue this program, and they are going to be a formidable nuclear power in the region.
Okay, we are so a lot of things happening in the world and particularly in Gulf and our region. But thank you both of you for participating in this debate.
Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.